Namaste, welcome to Let's Evolve Together. My name is Deepa, and today in our How to Meditate for Beginners video, we will be going over how to use a mala. So this is my mala here, and this one is a longer mala that I actually never wear mine, but I've seen many people put it around their neck and under their shirt. You would keep it protected under your shirt. You wouldn't wear it as a piece of jewelry or a decoration. Either way, there are malas that go around your neck, and there are also malas that go around your wrist. And it's particularly helpful if you do want to wear your wrist mala that it has an adjustable strap so you can make sure it fits you properly and doesn't fall off. For instance, this mala that I have, which is also a wrist mala, the beads are so big that I could never wear it on my wrist effectively. This mala was made so that you can loosen it and tighten it even if it was on your own wrist. The neck malas have 108 beads every time. So before you buy a mala, make sure you count the beads. It should have 108 beads plus the one guru bead. And it stands out. It's usually bigger or more decorative or more fancy than the other beads, and a lot of times it has a little tassel at the end. I have seen wrist malas with a number of different beads. They're not always the same. So the only issue with that is, for instance, if I was going to say make a promise to myself that I would do one mala every day of a certain mantra, it's very easy for me to spin the mala and the beads through my fingers until I get all the way to the end at the guru bead, and I know I've done 108. It's a little trickier with the wrist malas, especially when they have different numbers of beads on them, but just go ahead and count how many beads are on there and then multiply and figure out how many rounds of this wrist mala you would need to complete 108 repetitions of the mantra that you're doing. So it's a little trickier, but it's totally possible. It's the only thing I've noticed is that while I'm practicing, I'm also if I'm only using a wrist mala, I'm also trying to keep track of where I'm at, what round I'm on. So it's a little trickier for the mind and it's a little more distracting. But I love the wrist malas for traveling, and if I'm out and about, it's subtle, it's simple. They're both precious. Okay, so how to pick out a mala, really it goes by feel, sense, what you're drawn to, what you're inspired by. I love turquoise and red. I've got this mala years ago and I still have it. Knock on wood that it hasn't broken yet. If it did, I'd probably just get it remade. But yeah, you want something that feels good in your hand, feels good as you pass it by your fingers. That's really important. And something that inspires you so that you feel close to it, that you feel that internal connection to it, and it feels like something that you can hold close to your heart in that way. Also, I've got other beads that my skin doesn't like as much, so I don't know if you could try a mala out for a day and see how it feels. I'm not sure about that. You would have to probably ask the store how that works with their return policy. But yeah, the vibration of the beads or the stone is really important to see if that works with your subtle energy. It depends. If you're not that sensitive to different crystals or stones, that's not something you need to worry about. But if you know that you are, or if you know that you have one that really works well for you, you could actually search for that. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to actually use the mala. Okay, so what we do is we never use the pointer finger. So this is the pointer finger, the first finger, and it is known to represent the ego. So we don't want to give any more energy to the ego than we already do on a daily basis, at least the part of ourselves that is more external. We want to, when we meditate, start to begin the practice of turning our attention inside toward our inner self, toward a different part of ourselves, something that's more vast. So we keep the first finger out of the equation here, and you lay the beads over your middle finger. At least that's how I was taught. You lay the beads over the middle finger, and your thumb passes the beads as you repeat the mantras. So, for instance, I'm just going to show you. I hope you can see well. Om Ganganeshaya Namaha. That was one bead. Om Ganganeshaya Namaha. That was another bead. So I usually place my thumb on the bead, say the mantra, Om Ganganeshaya Namaha, push it down, bring my thumb to the next bead, say the mantra, Om Ganganeshaya Namaha, push it down after I'm done saying it, put my thumb on the next bead, Om Ganganeshaya Namaha, and so on, until you make it all the way back around to the guru bead. And the guru bead you leave alone. You don't pass by it, and you don't touch it. Try not to touch it. It is said that the guru bead collects Shakti, and so you don't want to be touching the guru bead. You want to preserve as much of that Shakti in your mala as you can, so that every time you pick it up, you get the juice from the Shakti from your own spiritual practice built up over time. Okay? So if you're going to repeat, let's say, 3 malas, if you're not going to pass the guru bead, you'll have to turn around. So I get to the end, Om Ganganeshaya Namaha, Om Ganganeshaya Namaha. You simply spin the mala around in your hand. Don't worry, you'll get the hang of it. And you go back the way that you came, starting with the bead that you landed on. Om Ganganeshaya Namaha, Om Ganganeshaya Namaha. Okay, and that's it. The rest, I think, is just care for your mala. So like I said, you would never want to wear it like a piece of jewelry or throw it around. And most importantly, you don't want to let anyone else handle it. It's a spiritual object. It's sacred. It contains your Shakti from your spiritual practice. So you want to keep it in a special place. I actually have a mala bag. And you could find these everywhere, a little pouch. You could make one, put it in there to keep it safe, keep it from the kids or anybody else touching it, and place it on your shrine or in a sacred spot where you think it'll be safe. Also, with the smaller malas, sometimes I'll hang them on my murtis as an offering or as part of my shrine. So I thought we could do a little mantra repetition together to finish off the video. And the mantra that I was just doing is a Ganesh mantra. And I pointed out in one of my previous videos that this is Ganesh, and he is known as the remover of obstacles. And you may recognize Ganesh. He's a pretty well-known guy. He is the deity that has an elephant head and a human body. And there's a big, beautiful story to Ganesh that I will read for you sometime soon. But for now, it's important to know that Ganesh is the remover of obstacles. He's also known to be the patron saint of the arts, creativity. He can also help place obstacles in your path if you happen to be going a way that might not be recommended or great for you on your spiritual path or in your life. A lot of times people will chant to Ganesh when they're starting a new project, when they're opening a new business, when they're getting married. Anything new, Ganesh really helps to clear the way so to ensure that things go smoothly. Okay, so if you'd like to do a little mantra repetition with me, we're going to do 1 mala. So if you actually have your mala and you want to go get it, you can pause the video. And we'll do 1 mala of Ganesh mantra together. Oh, one other thing I can mention is I usually hold the other end of the mala in the opposite hand so it doesn't touch the floor. Sometimes you can have your mala over your leg, especially if you're sitting crisscross, and the mala will rest on the thigh, and that's fine too. I just let the mala rest on the other hand. Again, I avoid the pointer finger, and as I spin the beads through my working hand, the other hand supports the rest of the mala, and it works out fine. There's a lot of flow, and it never gets in the way or anything like that. Okay, so if you want to, just find a comfortable seat. Start to tune into the breath. It's a nice breath through the nose, in and out the nose. And you don't have to alter your breath in any way. It's just a nice, easy, relaxed breath. Just allow the breath to do its thing. All you have to do is start to tune in internally to your energy, to your breath. Om Ganganeshaya Namaha. 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 Om Ganganeshaya